The next question is, what is the concept of demographic winter? Is the world moving towards such a situation? Elaborate. Obviously, when everyone sees this question, everyone will think only one thing. We know the term called demographic dividend. Why the UPSC is asking question on the demographic winter? And what is the real meaning of demographic winter? Majority of the people will be confused. But if I tell the meaning now, you will know that yeah, I have already seen this meaning somewhere. That's why these sort of terms will be there in the newspaper continuously, which we need to read, which are picked by the UPSC also. Now first, we need to define what is demographic winter. When we come to the demographic winter situation, the introduction part. In the introduction, you can directly quote down about the demographic winter. It means there is declining birth rates. Along with this, there is aging population. Which are increasing. There is declining birth rates, along with this aging population is increasing. What do we mean? Why do we call it as a demographic winter situation? Demography is nothing but where we talk about population, where we also talk about the sex ratio, where we talk about the male-female child sex ratio also. Now, why we call it as a winter? You know, when this is the earth, this is the sun, there are two situations where there is equinox time, 23rd September and 21st March. This is the equinox time which we talk about. And when it comes to this part, this is the winter situation. This is the winter in the northern hemisphere. When it is winter, what will happen? The productivity will be reduced because we'll be staying in the homes only. There'll be snowing which will be happening. You can't come out. And the body will not respond to the majority of the work situation because it is a cold-like situation. That's why the productivity automatically reduces when it is a winter season. And when it is demographic winter, means the declining birth rates, aging population will decline the productivity of the economy. It has the hit on the economy. It reduces the labor productivity. That's why we call it as a demographic winter situation. Now, after explaining this, we'll go how the demographic winter situation actually looks like. You can show it as a visual representation. You see, you can draw a diagram. Male, female, age sex ratio, you can draw a diagram like this. When you draw a diagram like this, here it will be child, here it will be working age, here it will be old age. You can draw a pyramid like this. After you draw a pyramid like this, here you can understand that the age population is increasing and the child population is reducing and working population is in the middle. When this situation actually occurs, what is the reason for this situation? Is the world moving towards such situation? You can quote some examples. You can see when it comes to the declining birth rates. See, how do you say that birth rates are declining? For that, we have a term called total fertility rate. When globally you try to calculate the total fertility rate, it is approximately 1.9. 1.9 is the global average of the total fertility rate. Then when you try to compare some of the countries, you can compare with South Korea. South Korea, 0.7. You can compare it with the Japan, which is 1.5. You can compare it with Europe, the entire Europe, which is also 1.4. And when we have India, it is approximately 2.0. See, India is aiming for the replacement level fertility rate. Replacement level, that is 2.1. That my generation should be replaced by the next generation. There should not be any population increase, just replacement level fertility rate. You need to replace the next generation. That's what India is aiming for. But that is possible only when the birth rates and death rates are stabilized. But here the aging population is increasing and the birth rates are declining. Then there cannot be optimum population rate. Now, here you can quote the examples. The declining birth rates, it is happening in Germany, Greece, and the aging population. You can quote Bulgaria. You can quote Japan. These sort of examples you need to quote. But what is the question is the world moving towards such a situation? Yes, the world is moving towards such a situation, but there is difference between the developed and developing world. When you try to understand the difference, you can understand there is regional differences when it comes to the movement towards the demographic winter. Some places are enjoying the demographic dividend and some places are going for the demographic winter. That's why you see the Russian president has called for Putin has called for making more babies so that the birth rate can increase. And China has reversed its stance for the one-child policy and going for the many-child policy also. Because they want the population to increase. They want their birth rate to increase. They don't want to push themselves into the demographic winter. Now, why? Before is the world moving? Why it is moving towards demographic winter? What are the reasons for the demographic winter? One, the education getting increased. The female education getting increased. And the delay in marriages which is happening because of female education getting increased. Second, the opportunities for the women are given equally. Third, the why it has getting increased, the demographic winter situation. Because here the work-life balance getting disturbed. Work-life balance is getting disturbed. And the fourth one is the rising inflation, the rising cost of living. See, previously you can hear that there are 11 people or 12 people which are born in the same family. Now, because of rising cost of living, rising inflation, we can't afford more number of people in our family. That's why the birth rates are reducing. People are choosing that only one child is enough, only two children are enough. That's why birth rate reduces. And the Lancet has quoted that India can face the same situation by 2050. Now India is enjoying the demographic dividend, where majority of the working age population is there for India. But it can turn into a demographic disaster also. It can turn into demographic winter also by 2050. That has been quoted by Lancet. Then, when this happens, what are the consequences that will occur? That because of poor geriatric care, which is the care which is needed for the elderly, the cost of geriatric care automatically increases. And the second one is the labor productivity. The labor productivity also decreases. These are the consequences of it. Then what we need to do? Is the world actually moving towards a situation? There is a balance which is needed. Obviously, at some places, it is moving to demographic winter, but not all the places. Then what is the way forward which we need? There are few examples, like the examples which you can quote is the Japan, which is focusing on the old age care. And Denmark, which is focusing on the work-life balance. And Spain, which is providing incentives for childbirth, like tax incentives. And there are so many incentives which is given by the Spain. This is how the world is trying to reduce the impact of demographic winter on their own country. Should India control the demographic winter? No. See, India is the country where the replacement level fertility is already been achieved. Now India can go with the same flow and it can continue at the replacement level fertility rate. But there are regional differences in India also. That needs to be quoted when you try to conclude these sort of answers. This is how you need to answer the question on the demographic winter. We have answered the definition and we have given some representation, we have given some examples, and we have provided some India specific examples also. This is the answer for the question demographic winter.